We begin the current Daf, Meseftas Beruchas Daf Chavtes. We begin on the bottom of Chavches Beis, 2 lines up in the bottom of the Yomid, where we quickly do a review from Daf Chavches. We spoke about the continuation of the story from the previous Daf regarding that day, the day that they appointed Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, which was when they actually went and created Mesechtes Idias. All the testimonies, so many people came into the yeshiva. A few examples. Gamliel ultimately appeased Rabbi Yeshua, and then they made the 3 weeks and 1 week compromise. Then we went back to explain the Mishnah that we said Shal Musafim, when you daven Musaf, it's Kol HaYom, but you call the B'Sheya. What do you do if, let's say, you could daven Musaf and Mincha at that same time? Do you do Mincha first because it's Tadr? Do you do Musaf first because ultimately it's Iveris if you hold like Rabbi Yehuda? Then we spoke about the permissibility of making Kiddush and eating before Musaf, before Mincha, and not to daven before the Tefillah is davening by the Tzibur. Then we had the Mishnah of Nechuni ben Akana, which he said, which we should all say that Tefillah has brought that before you come to learn. We'll say it as we're saying the review, which is that Hashem, please, when I learn, let me not stumble. And when one finishes, one should thank Hashem for the opportunity to be able to learn Torah. We spoke about different messages that Rebbeim gave to their students, and then we went to the next Mishnah every single day, which we're going to continue on that theme today. A 3 machlek is how do you daven? Do you have to daven the full Shemoneh Esrei, or could you daven, let's say, in the bridge Shemoneh Esrei, or does it depend how fluent you are if you daven the regular Shemoneh Esrei or the bridge one? And we spoke about, which we're also going to discuss today, regarding a tefillah ketzar. You make a short one-line prayer when you're in a dangerous place. Also, that al tas tefillas lekva, you shouldn't make your prayer into a permanent thing. Rather, there should be supplication. And also regarding facing your body in different directions, it should be towards Yerushalayim. If you can't, then at least let your face be, and if not, let at least your heart be faced towards the Kachei Kadashim. Then the Gemara, which is the theme we're going to start off today, is regarding the 18 different brachas that we have. Why 18? Either because the 18 times Hashem's name is mentioned in Perek Chavtes and Tilim, which has a few references to the first brachas in Shemoneh Esrei, or the 18 times in Kriya Shema, or the 18 vertebrae in the spine, and then they added on the 19th one, that of the Tzedukim, and then they found an allusion to each one of those in those interpretations. Some ideas we're going to speak about today in Beruchas Daf Chavtes. Again, continuing on the brachas of Shemoneh Esrei regarding the 19th bracha of the Mashinim. What happens if someone makes a mistake in the middle of the Mashinim? That's very different than the rest of Shemoneh Esrei because heresy was very prevalent, and they had to be careful if someone's getting up there and suddenly he doesn't want to say it because he's a heretic. Then we're going to continue regarding the numbers of brachas in different Shemoneh Esreis, Shabbos, Rosh Hashanah, on the fast day. Then we're going to go back to the opinion of our Mishnah Rabbi Yeshua that he says Me'ein Shemoneh Esrei. Two opinions regarding what does it mean Me'ein Shemoneh Esrei, and certain exceptions when you cannot say one of those interpretations out of Havinenu. What happens if you forget to say Mashav Ruach, Havdalah, in V'sein Talmata? These are the classic questions our Gemara is going to discuss there. Do you have to go back? Don't go back. Could you say it Shemei Tefillah? Then we're going to talk about what happens if you forget Yal V'Yavi on Rish Chodesh. That also depends where you're up to in Shemoneh Esrei, depending where do you go back. Do you go back to the bracha? Do you go back to you have to start all the way over? Then we go back to the halacha of our Mishnah regarding Rabbi Eliezer that says that you're not supposed to make your tefillah permanent. And 4 different interpretations. What does that mean? Regarding that it should be like with a bren. You should daven because you want and not because you have to. Then going back to the halacha of the Mishnah Rabbi Yeshua that says in the place of danger you make a short one-line prayer, and the interpretation of his in the Mishnah, and the Gemara discusses 2 interpretations. And then the Gemara goes through different versions, and then actually the halachic one that the Gemara says we rule like, Tzarchei Amcha Merubim, that's what we say when we're in the time of danger and you can't daven, you say that one-line tefillah. And then when the Gemara concludes with Tefillah Saderech, which is the prayer of the wayfarer that most people know about, that you say Tefillah Saderech when you're going on the journey, regarding how you're supposed to say it, and up until what type of a journey are you supposed to say it on. So our shiur, sponsored by Kahal Zich and Yechezkel, Torah Anytime and Daf HaChaim. Again, we begin on the bottom of Chavches Beis, 2 lines up at the bottom of the Yomid. Where the Gemara continues with the number of tefillas that we said that were organized, 18, what we call Shemoneh Esrei, then there's a 19th bracha, so Tarban Linda Bryson. Shimon HaPekuli, that was his name because he sold cotton. Hizdir Yudches Brachas Lefnei Rabbi Gamliel ala Seder B'Yavne. He organized the 18 blessings in front of Rabbi Gamliel. You have to remember, they didn't always have exactly 18 brachas. They used to daven. Anshe Knesset Gdei came and instituted. Shimon HaPekuli went and he organized it in front of Rabbi Gamliel on the order in Yavne. Now, Amr Rabbi Gamliel Chacham, but Rabbi Gamliel said to the sages, is there anyone who knows how to, and that was in Rabbi Gamliel's times, that they were very concerned for the uprise of heresy with Christianity and other things. So he said, anyone knows how to institute a bracha for the Tzedukim, which literally means the Sadducees, those who say that there is different words should be amended in a lot of these Girsais, that it doesn't mean the Sadducees, it means the Minim, the heretics, which refers to Christianity. Sadducees was a different group, a heretical group that they said they only believed in Torah Shabbat, but the same idea regarding they were considered a heresy. So Amad Shmuel HaKatan, B'tikn Shmuel HaKatan, Shmuel the small one, he came and he instituted the bracha of Alam Hashina. Now, the next year, he forgot what he was besaken. So he continued to have Chavtes and Alf. See, he was in the middle of davening for the Amid, and he was thinking about it. 2-3 hours, he was waiting to remember the bracha that he made. And they didn't take him away. They didn't tell him, no, get off from the Amid. Now, says Gemara, why didn't they remove him from davening? Well, Rabbi Yehuda says in this halacha, let's say the shlich tzibur gets up, then he makes a mistake on one of the brachas. Halacha is ein mal noisa. You don't remove him because he doesn't know how to finish the bracha. But by Beruchas Daf, by the bracha of al-mashinim of the sadducees, mal noisa, you remove the person. Why? You're concerned. Wait a second. Well, why can't he say the words? Because when he's a heretic, he doesn't want to say a blessing against his bad about him. So why didn't they remove Shmuel HaKatan? For 2-3 hours, he's trying to get through the bracha of Moshinim. Says Gemara, Shani Shmuel HaKatan, the Tekna. He instituted it. The guy made the bracha himself. He's not a problem. Says Gemara, why? Maybe he retracted. He got influenced by the heretics. Amabai says, we have a tradition. Tavala have a bisha. Good does not become bad. Says Gemara, it's really, is that not so? But the pasuk in Yecheskel says, when the righteous returns from his righteousness, and he does something that's corrupt, does something that's bad, that's what the pasuk says. So you see that the righteous could become bad. Why aren't we concerned with Shmuel HaKatan? Says Gemara, no, that pasuk is Rasha Mi'ikari. He's talking about someone that was originally a bad person, then he repented from his evil ways. Sometimes he could come back and become bad again. But tzaddik Mi'ikari, someone that was always righteous, no, we don't have a concern with such a person. So Gemara continues to ask. Oh, yeah. But it says Gemara, but that's not the case. But it's not. Berlin, the Mishnah that says, "Al tamin ba'atzmacha." Don't trust in yourself until the day that you die. Don't be so confident. Shari Yechon Kohen Gadol, the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, Shimish Bekuna Gedel Shmeinim Shana. For 80 years, he was the Kohen Gadol. Will be safe. Nasa Tzeduki. Then became a Sadducee. So you see, even the tzaddik Meikar could become bad. It's like the Gemara. No, Amabai. He says, "Who Yanai?" This king that the Jewish people had, Yanai. We learned in the Kedushin of Samach Vav Manaf that he killed all the Jewish sages. Who Yechanan? This same Yechanan Kohen Gadol was really Yanai. He was the same Yanai. And therefore, he was not a tzaddik mikari. He originally was bad. He repented, and he became this grace in Kohen Gadol. But at the end, he went bad again. He soured again, but that's because he wasn't a tzaddik mikari. Now, Rav Amma, he disagrees. He says, no, Yanai Luchod, that was one personality, but Yechanan was someone else. Yanai was a Rasha Mikar. He was a wicked person from the beginning. He became a righteous person, and then he went back and he soured again. But Yechanan tzaddik Mikar, no, Yechanan Kohen Gadol was always a righteous person. So now the Gemara asks, according to that Bible, it says, no, he's the same person, so he was bad, then became good, then became bad, makes sense. According to Rabbi, so now we're back to the question. Yechanan Kohen Gadol, you tell me, was always a tzaddik Mikar. How could it be that he became a Sadducee at the end? Oh, because a righteous person could become bad, so then why didn't they take down Shmuel HaKatan? Rav would tell you no. Tzaddik mikari nami. The truth is, even a righteous person that was always righteous, we are concerned dilma hadabe. Maybe he will go bad, like we see by Yechanan Kohen Gadol. Then the question is, if so, am I lo yesku? Then we're back to the original question. Why didn't they remove Shmuel HaKatan? You do have to be concerned. Even the grace of tzaddik, maybe he's going to be influenced. Says the Gemara, a different answer. Kashani Shmuel HaKatan, the aschaba. He started to say the bracha and he made a mistake in the middle of the bracha. Oh, that's the halacha. The Rabbi says on Vitam some says Rabbi Shub Levi, we didn't learn that this halacha of Rabbi Yehuda that you have to remove him if he made a mistake in the bracha of V'lamashinim Elash lehischaba. The mistake is he started stuttering. He couldn't start the bracha. But if he started and then he made an error, then you can finish it off because why you starting the bracha? Obviously, he just made a mistake. We're not concerned that because of heresy that he didn't know how to make the bracha. So that was the two interpretations. Why didn't they remove him? Either because he was a tzaddik meikare, or no, even tzaddik meikare we have to be concerned. But since he started the bracha, that's why we don't remove him. Now the Gemara goes back to what we discussed in the previous Daf. We started speaking about in our Mishnah, the Shemayna Esrei, the 18 brachas. But not every tefillah do we say 18 brachas. Says the Gemara, Hani Shevet the Shabbat, the 7 brachas. We only make 7 brachas. We make the first 3, one middle bracha on Mekadosh Shabbos, and then we make the last 3. So connect with me. Why is there number 7? In Judaism, we don't take anything for granted. 18 brachas doesn't happen to be because 18 is because there's a significance of 18. Why 7? So Rabbi Chalafta ben Shol, he says, Keneged Shiva Kailis. It correlates to the 7 sounds. Shama David al Hamayim. That David HaMelech said in the Mizmor, Kol Hashem al Hamayim, which is the same parak in Tehillim of Tes. The previous Daf, when we said there's 18 brachas, because it says there's 18 times Hashem's name in parak Tehillim of Tes. So on that regarding Shabbos, it says Koil 7 times. We say this by Kabbalah Shabbos. We say it right before L'Chadaidi. So it says over there 7 times Koil, which refers to the Koilos of the Torah was given with Koilos, and Shabbos was the day that Kabbalah Satar was. That's one of the interpretations why that would be significant if I say the 7 Koilos. But since there's 7 Koilos, that's why we make 7 brachas on Shabbos. Says Hani Tesha the Rosh Hashanah connected me. Why do we have 9 brachas on Rosh Hashanah? We know Rosh Hashanah there's 3 and 3, and there's also 3 brachas in the middle. Nachas, Zochain, and Shreifet. Why do we have 9 brachas? So Rabbi Yitzchak Dimin Kartignan, he says, Keneged Tisha Askara Shamar Chana B'Tfilasa. That correlates to the 9 times that Hashem's name is mentioned in Chana's prayer when she says Olatz Libi in Shmuel Aleph, which was after her birth. She finally gave birth to Shmuel Hanavi. She was so proud, she was so happy. She mentioned God's name 9 times. Now, why would we say, because of Chana's tefillah, that you mentioned God's name 9 times? Because the Amamara, the master says, Beruchas Hashanah, which is what we're talking about, that prayer, Nifked da Sarah Rachel Chana. Sarah, Rachel, and Chana were all remembered, and they became pregnant with a child. And that's the prayer she said after she gave birth to the child. And when was that happening? On Rosh Hashanah. So therefore we mention 9 brachas because of the 9 times she mentioned God's name regarding this, that she had a child, Shmuel. Says Mahani Esem Arba de Tanisa. This time we make 24 brachas on the Tainus. And the Tainus in Talmudic times, they would add on 6 extra brachas besides the Shemayna Esrei. So that takes it to a total of 24. Keneged me. Why the number 24? So Keneged Chav Dal Renanis. It correlates to the 24 songs, which in the parsha by Rabbi Shloimy in Malachim Aleph, he said Rina, Tfila, Tchina. There was many different terminologies, and all of them equal to 24. Shama Shloima, that Shloima said, B'shosh Hichnas Aron the base Kachay Kachem, when he was bringing in the ark into the Kachay Kachem, when they were inaugurating the base of Mikdash, that's when he said these 24 songs. So therefore on the Tainus we say 24. Says Gemara, but if it's because he said 24 when he was bringing the Aron, so Kol Yom Nami we should say 24 brachas every single day. Why just on the Tainus? Says the Gemara, no, Amos Amrina Shloima, when the Shloima say 24 songs, is B'yem Derachmi, and the day that needed mercy, meaning he needed to request mercy because what happened was when he was trying to bring in the Aron, the gates of the base of Mikdash closed. He couldn't bring in the Aron to the Kachay Kachem, like the Gemara says, then he was begging Hashem, please let me in, and it ended up being because of his father David, but he was singing 24 songs on the day that he needed mercy. So Anan Nami, us also, we say it on the day that we need mercy too, which is a fast day. A fast day, we beg Hashem, we beseech Hashem mercy. That's what a tightness is supposed to be, not just to lose a few pounds. It's supposed to be that we're beseeching mercy. That's why we say 24 on the day of a tightness, just like Shlomo, when he needed mercy, he said 24 renanis. Now we go back to the halach of a Mishnah. He said, not like the way our custom is, he says every single day, Me'ein Shemayna Esrei, you could daven an abridged version of Shemayna Esrei. Says Gemara, my Me'ein Shemayna Esrei. What is this abridged version of Shemayna Esrei that he's talking about? So it's two different interpretations. Rabbi says, Me'ein kol bracha bracha. It's an abridged version of every single bracha. I mean, every single bracha you say in short, but you make every single bracha. You make Shemayna Esrei brachas, but you're not going to say a whole paragraph, you're going to say one sentence. And that's what Me'ein Shemayna Esrei means. Shmuel Amr, he says, no, you don't make all the middle brachas. You only say the first 3 brachas, the last 3 brachas, which every Shemayna Esrei has that, and then you only make the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. And in that bracha of Shemei Tefillah, you include all the brachas of Shemayna Esrei in like a few words, not like a separate bracha. As the Gemara quotes this Tefillah, Havineinu Hashem Elokeinu. Hashem, give us understanding, our God, which that relates to the bracha of Atachenin, but it all continues. It's one long paragraph. Ladas drachecha, to know your path. Umoiles levaveinu, and circumcise our hearts. That correlates to the bracha of Hashivenu. Liyirsecha, to fear you. V'sislach lanu, and forgive us. This relates to the bracha of slach lanu. Liyis geulim, so that we could be redeemed. That relates to the bracha of geula, and so on. You'll see all the brachas are mentioned in these words. V'rechaknu mimachavenu, distance ourselves from our suffering. That's the bracha of rifeinu. V'dashneinu b'na'is artzecha, and fatten us from the pastures of your land. That correlates to the bracha of Beruchas Hashanah. When the futziseinu me'arba tekabit, and our dispersions from the 4 corners of the earth gathered together, that's a bracha of tekabit shefer. V'atayim al da'atecha, and those who err on your das, on your intention, meaning they violate your word, yishpatu, they should be judged. That's the bracha of melech tzedakah mishpat. Or another interpretation is the way you're supposed to read this is v'atayim b'mishpat, meaning those who err in judgment, al daitcha yishpatu. Return them that they should learn to judge according to your words, which Rashi likes that interpretation better. So the syntax there is different. But be that as it may, that's the bracha of Melech Tzedakah Mishpat. V'al Shoim Tonif Yedecha, and on the wicked you should lift up your hand. That's the bracha of Olam Hashinim. V'yismuch tzadikim, the righteous should rejoice. That's the bracha of Al Tzadikim. Bebinyan Yirecha, in the house of your city. That's the bracha of Uvenei. Ubetikun Echalecha, and in the perfection of your sanctuary. Ubitzmichas Karen, and in the flourishing of the pride, LeDavid Avdecha, to David your servant, which is the bracha of Asemach. Uvarichas Ner, and the preparation of the lamp, LeBen Yisha Mishechecha, to the son of Yishai, your anointed one. Terem Nikra Ata Sena, before we call out, you already answer. Baruch Hashem, blessed be Hashem, Shemei Tefillah. Here's the Tefillah. So this one bracha of Shemei Tefillah, we see incorporated all the Shemayna Esrei brachas in this bracha of Avinenu. Now, however, the Gemara brings that Layat Allah Abaye. Abaye criticized the one Amanda Matzli Havinenu, whoever would say this prayer of Havinenu, because you're skipping all the brachas, including one bracha. Very nice, interesting idea. You got all the Shemona Esrei brachas in one bracha, but you're skipping all these brachas that you're losing out, and therefore he would curse whoever said Havinenu. Now the halacha actually is, Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, he says, Kol Hashana Kula, the entire year, Mespal Adam Havinenu, and that's actually, as we rule, you could say Havinenu, Chutz, Mimatzah Shabbos, and Mimatzah Yom Tovim, except for Matzah Shabbos and Matzah Yom Tovim. Why? And they should tzarich lem Havdalah b'chein hadas. You have to say Havdalah, Matzah Shabbos or Matzah Yom Tov by chein hadas. Problem is, there's no chein hadas in Havinenu, because only Shema Kelenu. So you have to say, regular Shema Nesi says you could say Havdalah and chein hadas. What? Oh. Again, another one that was mechavan to the Gemara's question. Maskevla Rab Bar Shmuel said, "V'nemer bracha refias b'fnei atzmai." First, the Gemara is going to ask, "What do you mean? Say its own bracha by itself." So yes, say Havinenu, but say its own bracha. Why? Miloi Tzidan, didn't we learn the Mishnah later on the Flami Gimel Amid Alf that says, Rabbi Kiva Amra, there's machlekes, where actually do you put Havdalah in Matzah Shabbos davening? We know our custom, but it's a machlekes Tanaim. Rabbi Kiva says, Omer bracha revis b'fnei atzma. You say it, its own fourth bracha, you add on the separate bracha for Havdalah. Rabbi Eliezer Bahidai says, no, you say it by Maidim. So you see that you can say its own bracha. So good, so say Havinenu and add on one more bracha, that for Havdalah. Says the Gemara, Atar Kol Hashana Kula. What do you think? The whole year round when we say a regular Shemoneh Esrei, Mi Avdini Rabbi Kiva, do we do like Rabbi Kiva to say its own fourth bracha? No, we don't. The Hashtanami that now also we should do when we're saying Havinenu, that Navid we should go ahead and do like him, as the Gemara explains. Kol Hashana Kula, my time Avdini Rabbi Kiva. Why is the whole year don't we say a separate bracha? Because Tam Nisrei Takan, we institute 18 brachas, like we call it Shemoneh Esrei. Tishas Yilei Takan, we didn't institute 19 brachas. So Hachanam here also by Havinenu. Sheva Takan, we instituted 7 brachas. 3 first, the first 3, the last 3, and Havinenu. Tamni, like Takan, we didn't institute 8. So therefore, that's why we don't say Havinenu. That's why we have to say regular Shemoneh Esrei because of Havdalah. Now, Maskim Mazutra, this is what Hudi was asking. Mazutra asked, okay, wait a second, don't say its own bracha, but v'nechlala, include it in Havinenu, just like you include it in Chayin Hadas, and say, Mechlal, in the category of Ladas Drachecha, you should say, Havinenu Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem give us our God to understand, Hamavdul Bekodesh L'chaylu, separate between the holy and the profane, Ladas Drachecha, and go on and on. Says the Gemara Kasha, obviously the Gemara likes your question a lot. The Gemara does not have an answer for the question. Says, why not add on a few words? What's the big deal? You'll say Havdalah there and Havinenu. Now, however, the Gemara is going to come back to this in a second. The Gemara says, Amar Bibi Bar Baya. Says another exception. The whole year round, a person could daven Havinenu, and this is also the halacha. In the winter months, you can't say Havinenu. Why? There's another thing you have to insert that's not including Havinenu. You have to say v'sein talamater in the bracha Baruch Aleinu Berachas Hashanim. That's not including Havinenu. So the Gemara asked again. Maskebla Mazutra asked a similar type of a question. But included. Say the nusach Havinenu, but add on the words. Say v'dashnenu b'na'is artzecha, fatten us from the pastures of your land, v'sein talamater, and give dew and rain. Says the Gemara, no, asala trude. It's going to come to bother him, meaning he's going to come to make a mistake because I'm so used to saying it one way. You know, by me, my pshetel, I was ready to say it about Peh. My father last second added on some words of thanks. I blanked out. Don't tell me other things. I'm going to forget the whole thing, right? So asla trude. I know the nusach Havinenu fine. You can tell me to add on words. Forget about it. You're going to lose it. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, Havdalah b'chein hadas. Now go back to the previous Gemara's discussion regarding making Havdalah b'chein hadas. That in Havinenu. Nami asala trude. Wait a second. Why'd you remain with a question? You didn't answer that question. Why not say that the reason why you don't say Havdalah by Havinenu is because you might come to be distracted. And that's why we say you're not going to say. Why do you remain with a question? So they said, no, it's not true. Hasam over there by Havdalah. Even the Asya B'tchilas Slus, it comes in the beginning. You first said the first 3 brachas. That everyone knows. Then when you're starting to say Havinenu, all the way in the beginning was when you say Havdalah, because that's in the first part, when the first few words, when you're saying about Atachainen. Loi matra, that's not going to come to distract the person, because the person could focus in the beginning more than the middle. He knows to start off like that, and then he's on good course. Hachol be here, but however, regarding making a request for the rain, Kivin the Asya be'emtzitz, so that comes in the middle of the text of Havinenu. It's like correlating to Baruch Aleinu, which is in the middle. Matra, that's going to come to confuse the person. So that's why we remained with a question. We didn't have a good answer why you can't add the words of Havdalah in Havinenu, because you could say it in the beginning, that won't confuse you. But in the middle, that we know why we're not going to say it, because that will confuse you. But Masked Rav Ashi, But Rav Ashi says, still to ask, says, okay, fine. You can't say it in the middle by Baruch Aleinu. But v'nem b'shemei tefillah, you could say b'sein talamater by the end of Havinenu by shemei tefillah, not in the middle. And then you won't come confused, just like you don't get confused in the beginning. Why? Because the Amr of Tancham Rabasi says, Tavli his Gevuras Gesham. He brings the following halacha, which that's going to take us into the next Gemara's discussion. Someone made a mistake. He didn't mention Gevuras Gesham meaning to say Masha Beruach, but Tchias HaMesim. In the bracha of Tchias HaMesim, the second bracha Shmei Nesei, which that's just recalling the idea that Hashem does. It's not a request. So the halacha is Machzir Nesei. We make him go back. The reason is because it's not a prayer that you could say by Shemei Tefillah. You can't include it by Shemei Tefillah like we do by V'sein Talamater, because this is just what's called Hazkara. You're recalling Hashem's greatness that He brings rain. So by Shemei Tefillah is requests. You could add all requests that you want by Shemei Tefillah, but you can't add Masha Beruach. So if you missed Masha Beruach by Tchias HaMesim, by the second bracha, you got to go back. But she'ela b'berachas Hashanah, but if you got to make the request of a Saint Talamater by Baruch Aleinu, then imachzir naisa, we don't make him go back. You could say it's included in the bucket of Shemei Tefillah, which is all requests. Let's say you forgot to say Abdullah by the bracha of Atachaynin. Say imachzir naisa, we don't make you go back. Because ultimately, even if you forgot to say Abdullah in Shemei Nesei, you can say Abdullah in the cup of wine anyway. So we don't make you go back. But one thing is, you see, as the halacha was said, that if you forget to say the Saint Talamater in Baruch Aleinu, that we could say it at Shemei Tefillah, so that is an option. So say by Havinenu the bracha of Havdalah by Shemei Tefillah. That's at the end. You're not going to get confused. So why do you say you can't say Havinenu in the winter months because you can't say it in the middle? So say it at the end by Shemei Tefillah. Says Gemara, no, Shani, don't make me right from this halacha. If you make a mistake, it's different. Yes, but the Evid, if you forget, you could say it by Shemei Tefillah. But we're not going to institute Havinenu to initially say you could say the Nusach of Havinenu and say it the Saint Talamater at the end, because that's not like a tchila. It's not how we're going to institute a takana of Havinenu. No, the winter months you cannot say Havinenu because you're not going to be able to say the Saint Talamater in the middle. Tell me to say it at the end. It's only b'di'evid. If you skip, then you say it over there, and therefore that's why you cannot say Havinenu in the winter months. Now, Gufa, the Gemara goes back as we classic Talmudic style. Once we introduce something, we discuss it. Rabbi Tancham Ravasi says, his Gevuras Gesham. Someone made a mistake. He didn't mention what's called the might of the rain, which we're talking about God's praise that He brings the rain. If he forgot to say Masha Beruach b'Tchias HaMesim, so then Machzir Nes, you got to go back. Sheila b'Chas Hashem. Let's say you forgot to say the Saint Talamater, which is the request of rain in the Baruch of the blessing of the years, which is Baruch Aleinu. Machzir Nes, you don't make him go back. You're right. It's integral, but you can say it by the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. Now let's say Vavdel b'Chein Adas. You forgot to say separating between Shabbos and the weekday in the bracha of Chein Adas. Hashem gives understanding. We don't make them go back there either. Because you could say it in a cup of wine. Now Meisvi, however, the Gemara has a contradiction from the following brayso. Tavli his Gevuras Gesham says if someone made a mistake, he did not mention Masha Beruach b'Tchias HaMesim in the second bracha of Shemei Nesei. Machzir Nes, we make him go back. Sheila b'Chas Hashem. If we got to say the Saint Talamater by the bracha of Baruch Aleinu, Machzir Nes, we make him go back. And if you forgot to say Abdul Chadas, you can say in a cup of wine. But one thing is, you see contradiction. When you forget to say B'Sein Talmat in the Bracha Baruch Aleinu, do you have to go back or not? You just told me before you don't have to, and here the Brisa says clearly you have to go back. Says it's not difficult. Ha b'yachid. If you're davening by yourself, you have to go back. Ha b'tzibur. If you're davening with the tzibur, you don't have to go back. So the Gemara wonders, wait a second. But tzibur my time, why are you telling me if you daven in the shul, in the congregation, you don't have to go back? Obviously you're trying to say because when you'll hear the chazan say it over, so you'll hear it from him. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, then the words of Ravasi that it says, you don't have to go back because you could say by Shemei Tefillah, that's not the correct statement. According to your interpretation, and that's the reason because by tzibur you don't have to say it over, it should say different words. It should say because you can hear it from the Shleich Tzibur, not because you could say by Shemei Tefillah. So rather the Gemara says you're right, a different interpretation. Both statements that you have to go back or don't have to go back is talking about by someone davening by himself. And Malakash, there's still a lot of difficulty, and this is the halacha. This of Ravasi was talking about the Idker Kodem Shemei Tefillah. If you recall that you skipped the Saint Talmud, we just started saying the Saint Talmud, and you skipped it before Shemei Tefillah, then you don't have to go back because you could say by Shemei Tefillah. That's the halacha. However, it's continued to Beis. The Brisa was talking about the Idker Basa Shemei Tefillah. As Taisa says, most definitely there you're going to have to go back. He discusses till we have to go back, but if you forget after Shemei Tefillah, then there's no making up a Shemei Tefillah. You already skipped even the next step. Now you got to go back and say it over. Right, according to the Gemara's Havamina. Right, the Gemara's Havamina is a good question, right? He's saying for what? What do you mean to say? The Gemara's Havamina was saying if b'yachid or b'tzibur.
So you have to differentiate them from matter, so therefore
So then what's the case then that you wouldn't have to go back? Say the Gemara is saying that when you do have to go back is by Yachid, you don't have to go back by Tzibur. So it's a good question. You're saying, well, you do it Ma'ariv, but I'm saying that's the Gemara is trying to say. But Tzibur, you would hear from the Shliach Tzibur. Maybe it's only talking about Shachas and Mincha when you have it Tzibur, that then you wouldn't have to say it over. But in Chanami by Yachid, there would be the same thing Ma'ariv. Even by Tzibur, that would be considered like a Yachid because you wouldn't hear it from the Shliach Tzibur. But ultimately, the Gemara rejected that and said that it depends. If you hear before Shemei Tefillah, you don't have to say it over. You already skipped already Shemei Tefillah, then you have to say it over. Now, continuing on the same theme from the same Amor, Omer B'Tancham, Omer Basim, Reb Shuban Levi says the following halacha. Tav, someone made a mistake, someone forgot to say, and this happens to many people at many different times, he forgot to say Yalav Yavai, the idea of Rosh Chodesh in the bracha of Avodah, which is the bracha of Ritzei. So what's the halacha? So Chayz Lavai, you got to go back to the bracha of Ritzei. Niska Baida, let's say you remembered by Maidim, Chayz Lavai, this is the halacha, you got to go back to Ritzei. But Sim Shalom, let's say you remembered it's Rosh Chodesh by Sim Shalom, Chayz Lavai, go back to the bracha of Ritzei. But this is also the halacha. If you already finished Mayna Esrei, you're done. Chayz L'Reish, you got to start over again. So if you remember sooner than later, because otherwise you got to say over the whole Shemay Esrei. And this is the halacha. Now, but on this, the Gemara qualifies this teaching. Amar Papa Bered Ravacha Bar Adi says, hold on this that we said, Sayim, if you finish Chayz L'Reish, you got to go back and start all over Shemay Esrei. La'imar and Elashe Akar Ragla. That's only if you already took 3 steps back. But if you didn't take your steps back, even though you finished Mayna Esrei, but just let's say someone was even behind you, you didn't take your steps back, Chayz L'Avodah, you can still go back to Ritzei. Because you're not done yet. So you could still go back. If you're already finished, then you didn't do a good Shemay Esrei, you got to daven over again. Now, on that, Amalei, he asked him, Nolacha, how do you know this halacha? Amalei says, Ma'abba Mari Shmili. He says, I heard it from my father. Ba'abba Mari Marav, my father heard it from Rav. Now, the Gemara brings another qualification. Amar Nachma Yitzchak, he says, Hodamar, this that we just said in the previous qualification. That Ragla, but if you took 3 steps back, Chayz L'Reish, you got to start over again. So he says, but there's another leniency. That's only if he's not accustomed to say supplications after he davens. Like for example, like we say, when we say the first Yilaratzin, according to those that have the Nusach, then we say L'kai Nitzar, L'shayin Meirah. We say that after we finish our Shemay Esrei, that's considered Tachanunim. That's why we can answer certain things like Amen Yesh Merah, because it's not really part of Shemay Esrei. So on that, the Gemara is saying, even this that we said that if you take 3 steps back, that you're going to have to start over, it's only if you don't usually say supplications after you finish, and you didn't say them yet. But if you usually say supplications after you daven, then Chayz L'Avodah, even though you took steps back, your meaning akar in the sense means you finished, or it means to say that you took your steps back. But the point is, if you still stay tachanun, you didn't say that yet, then you could still go back to it. It's like you didn't finish, because it's considered an addendum to your Shemay Esrei. That's one version. Now you could say a different version. Amram Nachmi Yitzchak, he says, Hadam, on this that we say, Kiloy Akaragel. This is actually how we rule. We rule like the most stringent interpretation. This that we said, but if you didn't take 3 steps back, the Chayz L'Avodah, you can still go back to Ritzei. Loimar, we didn't say this only if, because when you finish, but you didn't take your steps back, you're not really finished, because you usually say supplications, as our minhag is, after you finish davening. But if you don't usually say supplications after you finish davening, so essentially that's really when you finish, it's like you took 3 steps back, even though you didn't take it because you're really done, then Chayz L'Reish, you have to go back to the beginning, as Taisus brings it, that's our halacha, that the Rif rules like the Ikad Army, that you need two qualifications. One, that you usually say supplications, which is what we do. We say L'kai Nitzar, we say all those things. Even though you finished the whole Sim Shalom, it doesn't make a difference. If you're still in the L'kai Nitzar, that's like Ragul Metachanunim, and you didn't take 3 steps back, then if you remember, then you don't have to go back to the beginning, then you could go back to the bracha of Ritzei. But if you took 3 steps back, or if you're not Ragul Metachanunim, then it's like you're finished and you're done already, and you would have to start over Shemay Esrei again. What? After that depends. I'm saying if after Yilratzin, so then that's not Ragul Metachanunim. It's like it sounds like that you're finished. So then even Kilei Raglav, that seems to be after that when you're finished already. So the Gemara goes back to the halacha of the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer, he says, so he said an interesting halacha. He said if someone makes his prayer into a fixed prayer, it's stationary, it's concrete, then it's like it's not supplication, it's not tachanunim. So the Gemara asks, my Keva, what does this mean? And this is actually halachas, that it's a problem to make your tefillah like a permanent thing. So Amar Yaakov Ba'idi Amar B'Yeshi gives the first interpretation. It says, Kol shetfilasa demalav kamasle. If your prayer is like a burden that you got to do, mean to say it's like a terminology of keva, like it's like a permanent statute on me that I got to daven, I got to go out and I got to do my dues. So then that's not appropriate. That's not how a person's supposed to daven. That's chayk kava. Now Rabban Amri, they give a different interpretation. It says kol mi she'enoi. Now the simple interpretation is whoever cannot, but the way the Bach brings from Rashi, it's that it's whoever cannot, meaning not that he doesn't, it means that he can't. means to say, not that he doesn't say it in the manner of supplication, but he cannot focus his heart to make his request in a supplicatory manner. That's a person that you're not ready to daven. You have to daven ready to see that you have in the terminology a manner of supplicating to God to fulfill what you're asking. Third interpretation, Rabbi Yisrael, they say, if you cannot introduce something new into your request, that's why the word keva is like, it's like a permanent thing, like it was today, was yesterday, it's tomorrow. You don't introduce anything new in your Shemoneh Esrei. You're not coming up with something unique. And there are those who bring down that, at the end of Shemoneh Esrei, you should say your own personal prayer. Introduce something new, because or else it's like, okay, the same thing. No, that's a keva. A person has to have an element of tachanunim. Now, actually, Omar B'Zeri, he says, no, he disagrees. He says, he says, I can introduce something new into the Shemoneh Esrei. But I'm afraid that maybe I'm going to get perturbed. I might make a mistake. I'm not going to know to go back where the place that I interrupted in the middle. It's actually by our Shemoneh Esrei, one should not introduce something in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, but at the end, a person should come with that attitude that he wants to introduce something new to Hashem, what happened today, what's going to be tomorrow, and talk to Hashem in that personal way, not just like a keva. A fourth interpretation, Abaye bar Rav and Reb Chanina bar Rav and Damet Havai, they both say, it means kol she'enim mispalim dimdumei chama. Whoever doesn't daven with what's called the redness of the sun. It means to say, like, it's a keva, it means to say, okay, it's something I gotta, again, a permanent thing that I gotta take care of, but I'm not particular to do it in the most appropriate, in the most ideal type of a way. Because the Amar B'chei Rav and Rabbi Yechanan says, mitzvah l'ispalim dimdumei chama. It's a mitzvah, it's ideal to daven with the redness of the sun, meaning in the morning, when you davening shachris, you're going to say the bracha b'yoytzer or with the netzach chama, with the rising of the sun, and by mincha you're going to say with the setting of the sun. So when the sun is red, when it's rising and setting, that's when the person should be davening. And Amar B'Zeri says, Mikra, where do you see a pasuk that says this idea? It's a pasuk in Tehillim. Yerucha, they should fear you im shemesh, with the sun, meaning that's a bracha b'yoytzer or, b'lefnei yarech, and before the moon comes out, that's mincha, is dardarim for all future generations. Therefore, a person that really does it with tachanunim, not keva, he's davening by the redness. I can't wait to daven. This is like baditch of a ma'aseh. The sun's coming out. He's going to daven. So that's the way a person should daven. That's what's considered tachanunim, not keva. Now, however, regarding the mincha part, layar Allah b'marav, in the West, in Eretz Yisrael, they actually criticize Amad Damatzli, whoever would daven, meaning he would delay his mincha until the redness of the sun. My time, why would they criticize that? Because Dima Mitra for Leishaita, maybe the person's going to miss the time to something that's just going to happen, and he's going to miss Zman Mincha. You wait too late. It's shkir. I'm saying it's. They didn't like that you wait for the redness of the sun, because something could come up. You might get a phone call. You might get this. You might get something that comes up. They didn't like that to wait for the redness of the sun by Mincha time. Now the Mishnah had said, Rabbi Shloimy, he says, if someone goes in a dangerous place, so you make a short prayer. And one of the words are B'chol Parsha Se'ibur. In all the Parsha Se'ibur, that all their tzrachim of the Jewish people should be in front of you. So it's like a one-line prayer in a dangerous place. So the Gemara qualifies, my Parsha Se'ibur, what does it mean, Parsha Se'ibur? So Amar Rav Chizda, Amar Mar Ukva. He says, it's like as if it said Prisha Se'ibur. As if it said all the interpretations of the word Ibur should be fulfilled. What does that mean? That's one word of Ibur. It's, even if you're filled on them, Hashem, with anger, Ki'ishu ubara, like a pregnant woman. So, I mean to say, it's like all the interpretations of Ibur, like anger and pregnancy. So it could either mean like just like a pregnant woman is filled up. So too, Hashem, you're filled up with anger, or it could mean a pregnant woman gets angry. But the point is, whatever it is, that Hashem, even if you have all the words of Ibur, that like anger and like a pregnant woman, you kol tzarkeim, let all their needs be revealed lefanech, in front of you, to still have mercy on them. Ikadam, those that say different interpretation, that Amar Rav Chizda Amar Ugva says afilu b'shoshem oivrim al divrei Torah. That's the word Ibur. That even when they violate the words of Torah, meaning they separate themselves to the ways of sin, you kol tzarchem lefanecha, still let all their needs be in front of you to have mercy on them. That's what a person should say in the time of danger. That one line tefillah, and that's two interpretations of what it means b'chol parsha is Ibur. It's saying like even though you're angry at us, even though we violate the Torah. Now, turn over in the Brisa, continuing on these different versions of what the tefillah ketzara is. Someone's going in a place of where there's bands of wild animals and bandits. So he says, like we said in the Mishnah, just here's different nuschayos, different versions. You make a short prayer. What's a short prayer? So Rabbi Eliezer, he says as follows. He says, do your will in heaven above, where there's no sin. The angels don't sin. They only do what your desire is. And yet here in this world, people do violate your desire. But do your will as it is in heaven above. V'sein, and give for them, for those who fear you, nachas ruach, a peace of mind, meaning that they shouldn't become perturbed by the creatures, by the wild animals, by the bandits, liyirecha mitachas, to fear you from here on below. V'atayv b'necha aseh, and the good in your eye you should do for them. Baruch atah Hashem Shemei Tefillah, blessed are Hashem who hears the prayer. That's one version. Pshuayim, he says, a different version. Shema Shavas Amchi Yisrael, hear the groan of your people, the Jewish people, which groaning is more than just a tefillah. V'aseh mehir bakashasim, and do speedily their request. Baruch atah Hashem Shemei Tefillah, blessed are Hashem who hears the prayer. A different interpretation, Rabbi Lazar Bar Tzadok says, Shema Tzakas Amchi Yisrael, hear the cry of your people, the Jewish people. V'aseh mehir bakashasim, and do speedily their request. Baruch atah Hashem Shemei Tefillah, blessed are Hashem who hears the prayer. Acheir Maimrim, the others say, and this halacha, the needs of your people, the Jewish people, are many. But they have a limited understanding, meaning they don't even know how to even say what they even need. May it be the will in front of you, Hashem our God. You should give to every single one enough for his sustenance, for every single body, enough for what it's missing. Hashem who hears the prayer. And this is the halacha. Halacha falls like that. If someone's in a dangerous place, halacha is broad, can't damage Shmoneh Esrei. So then you should say this one line prayer, and that's the bracha that you say, Baruch Hashem Shemei Tefillah. Now, related to this, Amalei Eliyahu Rabbi Yehuda. Eliyahu said to Rabbi Yehuda, who was Achud Rav Salah Chasida, he was the brother of the pious Rav Salah, he said as follows. He said, Loi tirtach, don't get angry, and v'loi techti, and don't sin. Meaning, because if you're going to get angry, you're going to come to sin. Also, he says, Loi tirvi v'loi techti, don't become intoxicated, and therefore don't come to sin. And when you go on a road for a journey, he malich b'koinich, take permission from your Creator, and then go out. Says Mahi Malach Bekana would say, what does it mean to take permission from your Creator and then go out on your journey? So Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Chizah says, Zut Tfilas Aderech. This is the wayfarer's prayer. That's what we know as Tfilas Aderech, and that's the halacha. You're supposed to say Tfilas Aderech when you're going on the journey. Now, additionally, from the same Amar of Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Chizah says, Kol Yitzl Derech, whoever goes on the journey, Tzarech L'Spal Tfilas Aderech, has to say Tfilas Aderech. And my Tfilas Aderech, what is the wayfarer's prayer? So it's Yehiratzim L'Fanecha Hashem L'Kai. May it be the will in front of you, Hashem our God, my God, Shtei L'Chein L'Shalom, that you should lead me to peace. And you should strengthen our footsteps to peace. And you should support us for peace. And the Vilna Gaon adds on the words, you should bring me back to my house in peace. You should save me from the palm of all my enemies, and all those who lay in ambush on the way. You should send blessing in my handiwork. And you should give me lechein, to grace, lechesed, to kindness, l'rachim, to mercy, be'enecha, in your eyes, and to all those who see me, which many people in Shidduchim on the way to the date, they have kavanah when they say that word, or on the business meeting. All those who see me, you should put also grace in their eyes when they see me. Baruch atah Hashem Shemei Tefillah, blessed are Hashem who hears the prayer. Now, Amabai says, La'ilam, always, as we continue to Olam and Alv, L'shatif inish nafshe, a person should join himself, Bahadi Tzibur, with the Tzibur, meaning, don't say, as the Ger says in Rashi, is Tfilas Aderech in an individual terminology, rather is like as our Nusach is, should be in a pluralistic terminology, because then the person's tefillah is going to be heard, because Hashem hears you, when you say it, like B'seich Shachar Yisrael, the same idea, you should say it in the Lashon Rab. Says how should you say it? Like this. You wrote some Hashem Elokeinu, not Hashem Elokai. Hashem our God. You should lead us, etc. It should be in the pluralistic terminology. Says Amos Masli, when do you say Tefillah Zaderech? Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Chizda, he says Meshosh Mahalach Badech, and that's halacha. You should say Tefillah Zaderech when you're ready on the journey. It says the Gemara Ad Kama. Now there's two interpretations in Ad Kama. Up until when is the time to make the prayer? So Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Chizdi says Ad Parsa, up until a Parsa, which is around like between 12 and 16,000 feet. That is, but not after you're ready when a Parsa, and that's the halacha. Meaning to say, you should say it within the first Parsa of the journey. Now the Bahag actually interprets Ad Kama as a different question. He says, Ad Kama, until how much does the journey going to be that you have to say Tefillah Saderech, and that's the Gemara answers Ad Parsa, even if you only have a Parsa to go, that's enough of a journey to say Tefillah Zaderech. But and this is the halacha also. If your journey is less than a parsa, then you're not going to say Tefillah Zaderech because it's too short of a journey to be something that's so dangerous. Now, v'heichem matzlan, how do you daven in? What position? So Rav Chizdam, he says, Mu'umad, you got to stand, you got to stop. Rav Shesham, he says, no, Afil Mahalach, even if you're going, and the halacha is like Rav Shesham, as many people when they're driving, they say Tefillah Zaderech. But the Gemara brings a story that says Rav Chizda have a ka'azi ba'orcha, they were going on the road. Come Rav Chizda, or Kamatzi, according to his opinion we just mentioned, Rav Chizda stopped, and he said Tefillah Zaderech. Someone Rav Shesha l'shameis, Rav Shesha was with him on the journey. So he said to his attendant, "My ka avad Rav Chizda." What's Rav Chizda doing? Because he was blind. So Amalei says, "Koi umatzli." He stopped and he's saying Tefillas Haderech. So Amalei said to him, "Ukmen nami l'didiva atzli." Okay, pick me up also, and I also want to say Tefillas Haderech. Miyos toiv al tikari ra. Rather that it be good than be called bad. Meaning, I could also stop and now say the prayer not walking because my companion also stopped. So let me not call bad to daven Tefillas Haderech walking, even though he held that it's permitted. But if someone, you don't have to continue going anywhere because you're not moving because he stopped. So let me stop and stand up and do it the way Rav Chizda did, even though he held that you're allowed to say it in a walking type of a way. So some ideas we spoke about today in Beruchas Daf. We continue with the Beruchas of Shmoyne Esrei. Although we call it Shemayne Esrei, it's actually Tesha Esrei. There's a 19th bracha added on, that of the Mashinim. Now, although in general, if someone makes a mistake as a Shlich Tzibur in one of the brachas, you don't take him down, but in the bracha of the Mashinim, we get rid of him. Why? Because we're concerned that he's a heretic. Now, why didn't they remove Shmuel HaKatan? He also forgot him and they kept him for 2-3 hours. Either because the Iyu Takna, he instituted the bracha. So he's obviously a tzaddik, which that came into discussion if we are concerned for heresy by a tzaddik mikari. This interpretation held that no, a totally righteous person, we're not concerned, and he was a tzaddik, he instituted, or no, because the aschaba. He started the bracha, he only made a mistake in the middle, a heretic wouldn't even start it, therefore even by any person, if he already started, we're not going to remove it. Then we went on to continuing the number of brachas in Shmoyne Esrei. Specifically, we said, why Shabbos? There's 7 brachas, there's the 7 kailos in that same parak of Tilim that we learned at the 18 brachas of Shmoyne Esrei. Rosh Hashanah, there's 9 brachas because of the 9 times Chana mentions Hashem's name, and on Rosh Hashanah is when she was told that she was nifka to have a child. On the tainus we make 24 brachas because there's 24 renanis that Shlomo said on the Yom and the Rachmi, and that's what a tainus is. We went back to the halach of the Mishnah. Rabbi Shua said that you don't have to daven Shmoyne Esrei. You could daven me'ein Shmoyne Esrei, in the bridge version of Shmoyne Esrei. What does that mean? Either it means me'ein kol bracha. You say 18 brachas, but you make a very short one-liner instead of a full bracha, or it means what we call habeneinu. Actually, you're not even saying those middle brachas. You say one bracha of Shemei Tefillah, and in Shemei Tefillah you include all the brachas, and like every 2-3 words is another bracha of Shemay Esrei. But Abaya criticized, you would say habeneinu because you're missing all those brachas. And also there's certain exceptions. Matzah Shabbos and Matzah Yom Tov you can't say habeneinu because you have to say Havdalah. And in the winter months, you can't because you have to say B'sein Talamata. And you also cannot include it in the middle because you might become Asla Trude. And you can't say in Shemei Tefillah because that's only by the Eved. But the Gemara stayed with a question like Hudi's question was that, okay, but then why by Havdalah don't you say it in the beginning? That's not Asla Trude. The Gemara did not answer that question. Then the Gemara says, what's the halach of loy hisker? If you don't remember to say Masha Baruch, you got to go back. You don't remember Havdalah, you don't have to go back. You don't remember to say V'sein Talamater in the Bracha Berachas Hashem, we had a contradiction. One source said you do go back, one said you don't go back. What's the halacha? Depends. If you remember after Shemei Tefillah, you got to go back because you missed even the second stop. If you remember before Shemei Tefillah, you don't have to go back, and that's the halacha before Shemei Tefillah. If you got V'sein Talamater, you could say it in Shemei Tefillah. What happens if someone forgot to say Yal B'Yov and Rosh Chodesh? So you got to go back. But depends where you remembered. If you already finished, you got to start all over again. If you didn't finish it, you go back to Ritzeh. If you finish, you got to go back to the beginning. Now, that depends if only Akar Raglo. If you finished and like you took 3 steps back. But the Gemara discussed 2 different versions. If you're Ragel Lemer Tachanunim or not, is that something that even if you took 3 steps back, but you're Ragel Lemer Tachanunim, you still wouldn't have to go back to the beginning? Or no, only if you also are Ragel Lemer Tachanunim and you were not Akar Raglav, then you wouldn't have to go back. There was 2 different versions. We rule like the most stringent interpretation. You have to have both. A Ragel Lemer Tachanunim and not have taken 3 steps back, and then you can go back to Ritzeh. We continue with the halach of the Mishnah that we had at Rabbi Eliezer. He says that if you make your tefillah as kavah, then it's not tachanunim. So what does that mean? Either if it's like a load on you, just okay, let me do this already, or you're not saying it in a supplicatory manner, or you cannot because you can't focus, or you can't introduce something new. It's just like, okay, yesterday, today, or you're not davening with them. I mean, say you're not excited. You're just, I'll come to the minyan whenever it's going to be. No, a person that's excited is going to come when the sun is coming up, although that we said that by the nighttime, by mincha, they're in the west, they criticize that. The Mishnah we brought from Rabbi Shua that he said in a dangerous place, you make literally a one-liner tefillah. And in his version, in the Mishnah, was B'chol Parsha Se'ibur, which we had 2 interpretations. Either it means that even Hashem, when you're in be'ever, in anger, like a ishu bar, like a pregnant woman, still Hashem give us what we need. Or it means even when the Jewish people are oivrim al divrei Torah, still you should give us what we need. And we had different versions of what these short prayers are. And our halacha is Tzarchei Amchem Ruben. Look, we have so many needs of a Dait Miktsar, we don't even know how to ask. Hashem, just give us what we need. And then we conclude with the Tfilas Haderech, which we say in Lashon Rabbim. Ad Kama, Ad Paras, we had two different interpretations. Either means say, you should say it until the first parasa. Don't wait till you're halfway through the journey to say it. Although b'diavad you could say it up until you're parasa of the destination. Or it means to say that what type of a journey, ad kama, how much of a journey, if it's at least a parasa, then you have to say. And then we had a machlekes if you need to stand and stop, or you could continue saying it as you're going. Thank you, Torah, anytime for hosting us.